Greetings everyone. Welcome to History Lectures CEC series. I am Dr. Ishwar Dan, Assistant Professor, Department of History, Satyavati College. The topic of my discussion will be public archaeology in India and conservation of heritage. So, what is archaeology? As we know that archaeology is the science as a discipline. Archaeology is the study of human past through the material remains. So, archaeology especially is the scientific study of human history and prehistory through the excavation, analysis and interpretation of material remains such as artifacts, structures and other physical evidence. It seeks to understand past human cultures, behaviors and societies by uncovering and studying objects. And what is the public archaeology? Basically, when public engagement and the participation of public with the archaeology is very important. So, public archaeology is the practice of involving the public in the study, preservation and interpretation of archaeological sites and heritage. It focuses on making archaeological knowledge accessible, fostering community engagement and promoting cultural awareness. So, the term public archaeology was first used by McGimsey with an objective of defining the necessity to make aware the public of their past without any prejudice and biasness. And Matsunda and Okamura also summarizes the meaning of public archaeology in the 1980s as it primarily meant archaeologists' effort to record and preserve archaeological remains that were being threatened by the development works on behalf and with the support of the public. So, initially public archaeology was associated with cultural resource management, that is CRM, undertaken in the public interest, particularly in the USA. In the context of USA, CRM was identified with the public archaeology and it involved engagement of non-professional also for investigation of development led areas for understanding the potentiality. So, in India, the Archaeological Survey of India and state departments of archaeology takes steps through legislations and executive orders to document and conserve and protect the cultural remains, and there is very less public participation. So, public archaeology and alternative thinking. So, public archaeology deals with the role of the people for protection of archaeological sites. Increasing of awareness is an important tool of this approach. So, the public should be informed about the importance of the site and the artifacts found from the sites, and local people can play a vital role in the protection of the site, because we know that the local people, especially the villagers, they can be act as security and stop different activities like exporting of archaeological materials, looting and disturbance, etc. So, the awareness camp should be arranged to aware local people about the importance of the site and values of the artifacts, so that they can be act as preserver of their own culture, and they also they can relate themselves through the archaeology. So, a role of archaeologists also very important, as we know that archaeology is particularly related with the archaeologists. So, role of archaeology in the spreading the message of past history through various activities, including display of exhibitions, important findings from the excavations, museum display, educational tours from the school children, and making film and the documentaries. These are very important. And then public archaeology including many activities such as we know that the archaeological site tours and excavations open to the public, and then educational programs and exhibitions in the museums and schools, and community driven archaeological projects that engage local populations in preserving their heritage. So, the use of digital tools and media to disseminate archaeological findings are also important. As we know that in archaeology we can use many educational programs and then awareness program to promote public archaeology. Our motive is that how can we relate archaeology with public, because archaeology as a separate discipline is important, but its relations, its connection with the public is also important. So, to protect and preserve the vast cultural heritage of a country like India, raising public awareness is very crucial, so that public may appreciate its own past and they can relate with their ancestors. So, awareness needs to start from a very early stage, start from the school education, so that it becomes easy to preserve the rich heritage and culture through educational among students. So, the awareness program organized by Archaeological Survey of India, in particular on the occasion of World Heritage Day on April 18 and World Heritage Week from 19 to 25th November of every year, is an important aspect in this regard. And this program is essentially targeted towards the school children to enable them to understand our rich heritage. The school children are invited to the monuments and sites and educating them by engaging them in participating in general cleanliness programs, and heritage walks are also organized by the field offices of ASI to enable the community to participate in understanding their heritage. And heritage walks are also being organized by many NGOs to spread awareness among the public about the archaeology and archaeological activities. These events help the community in developing an ownership and connecting themselves with the past, which helps in better preservation of our heritage and also their participation in awareness programs, and prevents any destruction of such heritage in the future. Therefore, education has become important tool in the preservation of our past and the awareness about the public archaeology. And then as we know that in archaeology, excavations and explorations and the survey of the surface survey and the findings investigations are very important, but the excavation is the very core area of the archaeology. So, excavation and the public archaeology, how can we relate excavation activities with the public archaeology, कि उत्खनन से संबंधित गतिविधि को हम आम जनता से कैसे जोड़ सकें या उनको कैसे समझा सकें. So, in that context, so in the past the excavation of archaeological sites was limited to professionals, archaeologists and scholars engaged in serious research and interpretations. They would unearth objects and antiquities, then transport them to distant location for study, research and display in museums. So, however, recently these experiences are very better opportunity to not only educating the local population about their rich cultural past, but also engaging the school children from nearby places for understanding the importance of preserving the past. For an example in this regard may be cited from the excavation of Hadpan site at Karnpura district, Hanumangarh in Rajasthan. At this site, during the excavation from 2012 to 14, educational trips involving the local schools were organized, explaining the students on the findings and the relevance of studying archaeology and history to not only the past, but to understand its importance. In this regard, in Delhi University also कई कॉलेजेस के हम लोग जो एजुकेशनल टूर्स करते हैं, जैसे सत्यवती कॉलेज द्वारा पुराना किला में जो उत्खनन हो रहा है वहाँ पर जो एक टूर ले जा कर के बच्चों के माध्यम से वहाँ पर उन फाइंडिंग्स को देखना, उत्खनन की जो गतिविधियों को देखना, ये सब भी इसमें जोड़ा जा सकता है, क्योंकि पब्लिक का आर्कियोलॉजी के साथ, एक्सकेवेशंस के साथ कैसे इंगेज कर सकते हैं, इसमें हम किसी गांव या किसी भी साइट का जो एक्सकेवेशन हो रहा है वहाँ पर वहाँ की पब्लिक को भी ये समझाया जा सकता है कि ये उनके पूर्वजों की विरासत से संबंधित हैं, ये उनके लिए एक धरोहर है और वो उसको अपने आप से गर्व से भी उसको जोड़ सकते हैं। क्योंकि इसमें कई बार ऐसा भी होता है कि किसी लोकल एरिया में ऐसी र्यूमर्स भी होती है कि कहीं एक्सकेवेशन हो रहा है, तो वो लोग उसको समझते हैं कि यहाँ पर आर्कियोलॉजिस्ट आ रहे हैं, हो सकता है यहाँ कुछ सोना हो, ऐसी कई सारी अफवाहें भी हैं जिससे वो लोग अपने आप को संबंधित नहीं कर पाते हैं। सो इन दिस कॉन्टेक्स्ट आर्कियोलॉजी एंड एक्सकेवेशंस एक्टिविटी कैन बी कोरिलेटेड. And then the role of museum in public archaeology is also very important. Museum at present include a wide variety of subjects ranging from art, history, archaeology to even any other sectors. So the basic role of museum to display objects of a particular category for education and dissemination of the knowledge. The archaeological museums in ASI is an example of linking the artifacts displayed in them with the education and the public, thereby creating awareness. So artifacts and other material objects recovered from excavations are kept in museum so that the public may correlate with in a better manner. The museums are also centers of education to the public in general and in school children in particular. On important occasions like World Museum Day on May 18, events are organized for the benefit of school children to create awareness of the heritage and importance of preserving them. And then why we should study archaeology? So the need of public archaeology, how can we read the public archaeology, how can we correlate the public archaeology with academia? So need of archaeology in that context, I would focus on the different parameters, and the first one is the cultural heritage preservation. So public involvement helps ensure that archaeological sites and artifacts are preserved for future generation by raising awareness and promoting responsibility. And then second one is community engagement. As we know that community engagement is very important, and it fosters a connection between local communities and their heritage and empowering them to take part in the protection and interpretation of their history. And then education and awareness. So public archaeology bridges the gap between academic research and the general public, educating people about the past and its relevance to contemporary issues. And then promoting sustainable tourism is also very important. Public archaeology can create informed tourism experiences that support the local economy while ensuring that sites are not harmed by overuse. In that context, I can give an example of राजस्थान. देयर इज़ अ विलेज कुलधरा इन जैसलमेर, जहाँ पर एक लोकल कुछ लोगों ने वहाँ के दीवार पर लात मार के उसको गिराने का प्रयास किया गया, तो उसको वहाँ के स्थानीय लोगों ने रिकॉर्ड करके पुलिस को इन्फॉर्म किया गया और उसको बाद में सज़ा भी मिली कि आप हमारी विरासत को नष्ट नहीं कर सकते। तो उसको विरासत को हमारी जो फाइंडिंग्स हैं, हमारी जो आर्टिफैक्ट्स हैं, एंटिक्विटीज़ हैं, उनको बचाने का प्रयास किस तरीके से किया जा सकता है, तो उसमें पब्लिक का पार्टिसिपेशन इस संदर्भ में महत्वपूर्ण है। Then I would focus on scope of the public archaeology. So heritage education is the one of the most important element in that context. So promoting public understanding of archaeology through museums, exhibitions, outreach programs and educational initiatives. So this include school programs, public lectures and workshops aimed at increasing awareness of the importance of cultural heritage. So cultural heritage preservation is very important. Engaging the public in the preservation of archaeological sites and artifacts, and public archaeology play a crucial role in advocating for the protection of endangered or threatened cultural heritage. In that context, digital media and media outreach and media programs can play a very important role, and utilizing digital tools, social media different platforms of the social media and other media platforms to share archaeological findings with a broader audience, and this include the use of websites, virtual reality and online forums to make archaeology accessible and engaging. इस प्रकार के जो सोशल मीडिया के चैनल के माध्यम से भी कि कहाँ पर किस प्रकार के एक्सप्लोरेशंस हो रहे हैं और वहाँ पर अपने ग्रुप में लोग शेयर भी कर सकते हैं कई सारी जानकारी, इसके माध्यम से भी हम पब्लिक से इंगेज हो सकते हैं। जैसा कि मैंने भी अपने एक्सप्लोरेशन के दौरान राजस्थान के हाड़ौती क्षेत्र में अलग अलग जो एक्सप्लोरेशंस हो रहे थे, साइट्स मैंने जो विज़िट की, वहाँ की जो फाइंडिंग्स थी वो मैं जिस प्रकार से कुछ जगह शेयर भी किया, तो उससे भी लोगों का इंगेजमेंट हुआ और वहाँ पर जो स्थानीय लोगों ने भी इस मामले में मुझे सपोर्ट भी किया। So tourism and economic developments is also important. So public archaeology can also contribute to sustainable tourism by providing informed, responsible engagement with archaeological sites and benefiting local economy while protecting cultural heritage. क्योंकि इससे वो स्थानीय लोग अपनी जो सांस्कृतिक विरासत हैं उससे तो जुड़ते ही हैं, साथ ही साथ वो वहाँ के स्थानीय जो टूरिज़्म है, पर्यटन के क्षेत्र में भी वो महत्वपूर्ण है। जैसे राजस्थान का बूंदी क्षेत्र इस मामले में बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है, जहाँ पर कई सारे पाषाणकालीन जहाँ पर फाइंडिंग्स मिली हैं, जहाँ पर रॉक आर्ट से रिलेटेड साइट्स भी हैं, और वहीं उसी साइट्स पे बहुत सारे जो टूरिस्ट हैं, फॉरेन टूरिस्ट भी और जो हमारे देसी जो पर्यटक हैं वो भी वहाँ पर जा कर के, हालांकि इसमें एक महत्वपूर्ण पक्ष ये है कि उनको संरक्षित कैसे किया जा सके, उसका संरक्षण उसमें अपने आप में इम्पॉर्टेंट पहलू बनता है। And then key concern in public archaeology. As we know that archaeology अगर हम देखें भारत में ब्रॉडर कॉन्टेक्स्ट में, तो उसमें एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव रोल भी इम्पॉर्टेंट है और उसमें फंडिंग का सबसे बड़ा इशू रहा है। तो सो फंडिंग एंड रिसोर्सेज इज़ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। सिक्योरिंग एडिक्वेट फंडिंग एंड रिसोर्सेज फॉर पब्लिक आर्कियोलॉजी प्रोजेक्ट्स, especially those rely on community participation, educational outreach and the development of accessible media and technologies. So इसमें फंडिंग का और रिसोर्सेज का एक महत्वपूर्ण पहलू है जो आने वाले समस्याओं में एक रहेगा। Then political and legal challenges also important. So archaeological work can be influenced by political, legal and economic factors. एज़ वी नो दैट पब्लिक आर्कियोलॉजी के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में भी हमारे लिए यहाँ पर आर्कियोलॉजी पे ज़्यादातर प्रशासक जो हैं, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव पोस्ट हैं, वो इम्पॉर्टेंट रही है। उसमें कई बार ऐसे भी जो अधिकारी रहे हैं जिनका आर्कियोलॉजी से बैकग्राउंड नहीं रहा है, तो उसमें आप आर्कियोलॉजी के क्षेत्र में ज़्यादा वहाँ पर गुंजाइश भी नहीं रहती है। सो पब्लिक आर्कियोलॉजी मस्ट नेविगेट इश्यूज सच एज लैंड ओनरशिप, गवर्नमेंट रेगुलेशंस एंड competing interest, and that may affect the integrity or direction of archaeological research. And then tourism and commercialization is also the key concern. The commercialization of archaeological sites through tourism can sometimes lead to the degradation of sites or the distortion of historical narratives to fit tourist expectations. Public archaeology must find ways to engage tourists responsibly while preserving the integrity of cultural heritage. Despite India's rich historical heritage, public archaeology often remains overlooked and underfunded. इस पर जिस तरीके से अगर हम तुलना करें यूके या यूएस के संदर्भ में, तो वहाँ पर आर्कियोलॉजी या पब्लिक आर्कियोलॉजी पे ज़्यादा ध्यान दिया गया है, पर भारत के संदर्भ में अभी तक इस कदर उसको ध्यान भी नहीं दिया गया या उतना सपोर्ट भी नहीं मिला है, तो एकेडमिया तक ही सीमित बना हुआ है। सो इसको हमें पब्लिक आर्कियोलॉजी के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में देखने की भी ज़रूरत है। So there is a neglect in various factors including historical legacies, societal biases and the inadequate infrastructure. And many monuments of the national importance outside of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites face neglect due to a lack of government support and community involvement. और ऐसे कई सारे उदाहरण हम दे सकते हैं जिसमें हमारी जो सांस्कृतिक धरोहर के स्थल जो रहे हैं वो आज कहीं न कहीं वीरान से हो रहे हैं, यहाँ पर वहाँ पर डिस्टर्बेंस देखने को मिला है। Even educational reform is crucial to foster awareness and appreciation for archaeology among younger generations. उनमें उनकी सांस्कृतिक धरोहर को लेकर के, उन्हें पुरातत्व को लेकर के हमें सचेत या अवेयर करना होगा ताकि वो आने वाले समय में अपनी उस विरासत को संरक्षित कर सके और आम जन में भी जागरूकता ला सके। And then way forward in public archaeology, what can be done in archaeology, public archaeology, क्या हमें ऐसे करना चाहिए? सो इस संदर्भ में incorporating technology, utilizing emerging technologies such as 3D modeling, GIS, augmented reality and virtual reality to engage the public in interactive ways, different conferences, seminar with public, and these technologies can offer virtual tours, bring historical reconstructions to life and make archaeological findings accessible globally and reducing the impact of physical sites. Apart from that, global and local partnerships are very important. Public archaeology should engage with global frameworks like UNESCO conventions while maintaining a strong focus on local needs and values, building network between international organizations, governments and local communities and local governing bodies, especially Gram Panchayat, Nagar Palika and all. So, this will support shared goals of heritage protections and educations. And educations and lifelong learning, so invest in lifelong learning opportunities for people of all ages. So encourage formal and informal education programs that promote archaeological literacy and foster critical thinking about history, heritage and archaeology's role in contemporary issues. And then social justice and inclusivity is also very important. So public archaeology should increasingly be used to address issues of social justice, historical inequality and cultural identity. So by focusing on marginalized community, public archaeology can provide a platform for underrepresented voices in the interpretations and protection of their cultural heritage. And then government support is also very important. Government support is vital for development of public archaeology, national action plan, then along with a dedicated task force can provide the necessary direction and coordination. So increased budgetary allocations are essential to ensure adequate financial resources for research, for preservation and public outreach and then different other outreach programs. So, and then apart from government, there are many non-governmental organizations, NGOs, public actions groups and corporate houses can play an important role in public archaeology. So, NGOs and public action groups and corporate houses and their CSR fund can also contribute significantly to the this cause, and initiatives such as Rakhi Gadi resort is very important. बहुत सारे ऐसे पुरास्थल हैं जहाँ पर हम लोग इस प्रकार से सभी संस्थानों के सहयोग से उस पुरास्थल की एक तरह से बसावट को समझ सकते हैं, उसको बचाया जा सकता है. Then the proposed museum demonstrate the potential for public private partnership in promoting archaeology. Different policies encouraging corporate adoptions of monuments can also help mobilize resources and raise awareness. And then by implementing these strategies, India can foster a more vibrant and engaged public archaeology community, ensuring the preservation of its invaluable cultural heritage for future generations. Moreover, it empowered the locals to understand their heritage, which not only brought a sense of pride to them in their local environment. So, in that context, we can understand the public archaeology and public archaeology is very important. It's new context in Indian archaeology, and इनके माध्यम से हम पब्लिक आर्कियोलॉजी को और विकसित कर सकते हैं, इसकी समझ को विकसित किया जा सकता है। और भारत में पब्लिक आर्कियोलॉजी के संदर्भ में काफ़ी कुछ रिसर्च की संभावना है और पब्लिक को इस तरीके से एंगेज किया जा सकता है। थैंक यू।